Good afternoon, everyone. So we're going to make a start now and run through on-demand support and service management offering, which I hope you'll find interesting, and hopefully you'll see merit in engaging with us with our service management function. So let's kick off. Let's get straight into it. So here's a couple of good-looking chaps. That's me on the left there, Clive Platt. I'm Head of Service Management. I'm responsible to the directors for our service management function. I'm joined by my colleague, James Burgess.
Good afternoon, everyone.
So James is one of our service managers within the service management team. And we're very honoured to have a guest appearing with us today. So I'd like to introduce himself. This is Lawrence from Heathrow.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for joining as well.
Thanks, Lawrence. So Lawrence will be giving a customer's eyes view of dealing with BrightGen and our service management team a bit later in the presentation. So here's the agenda. Who is BrightGen? Just a little whistle-stop tour around our pedigree on the Salesforce platform. What is service management? So what do you get, and what's entailed in having a service management contract with us? Is service management for you? We'll give you some examples of where people have found this of value. Meet the customer. That's where our esteemed friend here, Mr. Lawrence D'Souza, will be giving his eye view of working with BrightGen. How does it work? I'll be handing over to James. James will be telling you, the mechanics of and the communication routes of dealing with us and our service management team. And at the end, we'll have a question and answer session. So just how this works is if you can use the questions function within the webinar, my colleague, Carly, our events manager, will collate those, and then we'll cover all of those questions off at the end. So if there's anything that you want us to give you some more detail on, we'll be more than happy to do so at the end. So let's get cracking. Why can you trust us? Who is BrightGen? Well, we started in 2007. We've been operating for 11 years. I've been with the company almost all of those 11 years. So I'm more than happy to be here, and I'm hoping to stick around for a few more years yet. So all our teams are UK based, so we've got 3 centres. Our headquarters are in Witham in Essex. We have a London based office, and we also have an office in Leeds. We're all BrightGen employees, so whoever you speak to within BrightGen will be a BrightGen person. We're 120 people at the moment and growing all the time. We've got a 9.8 out of 10 customer satisfaction score, and this is an independently driven scoring system that Salesforce run for their partners. And maintaining this high CSAT score is one of the requirements for us to retain our platinum partnership. So we are platinum partners with Salesforce, and this means it's about the highest level of accreditation you can achieve with as an implementation partner. So we've delivered over 1,000 successful projects. That means we've delivered solutions across the whole spectrum of the platform. So we have lots of solutions that we can offer our service management customers due to our experience delivering all these projects. We're the only UK independent partner with 2 Salesforce certified technical architects. This is the highest level of certification that you can get from Salesforce, and we're very proud that we've got 2 within BrightGen. We have over 350 certifications on the Salesforce platform between us all, starting right from the beginning with admin and app builder, and Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and we're also got certifications in CPQ, Marketing Cloud, and various other technologies on the platform. Now, I did say that we're UK based, but our customers span the globe. We've got international customers, particularly in the US, Europe, and in Australia too. So, service management. as I say, I joined in 2007, and we had 2 service customers. It was me and one other developer, 2 customers, 2 members of the service team, but the offering was quite attractive, so it grew. 2 became customers, became 4, became 10, became 20, and we now have 54 service management customers. Same happened with the team. 2 of us started, then as we grew exponentially, as the customers base grew, and there's now 30 dedicated consultants within the service team alone. But there are, as I say, 120 in the whole of the BrightGen community. So we also have industry-specific expertise. As you can imagine, 54 customers across almost every industry vertical, but we have specific industry knowledge, particularly in media, financial services, retail, energy, particularly big in not-for-profit space, and manufacturing. So this is some of the things that we do as part of service management. So BAU support. So support, that's a given. You get that. If your Salesforce solution fails for any reason, you raise a case with us, we fix it. But we're more about improvements. So mini projects, if there's a small piece of work that you want to do within service, we can manage that. Anything up to 10 days of effort, we can manage within a project, a mini project within service. So we also can offer some release management, control of change onto your production system. Let's protect your production system, keep your users up and running. Release management, we can help with that. You might already have your own release management function. We can do that. We can buy into that. But if you don't, we can help formulate that. Road mapping, change. Let's have a look what features there are on the platform that you might be wanting to take advantage of. You might not have heard of, but we might have ideas that we think will be a good fit for you, and then we can offer that and talk about a roadmap of continuous improvement. Continuous improvement, it's a fairly, it's not cheap. We understand that Salesforce is a fairly large investment for most companies, and you want to get the most out of it. So let's look at having a plan of continuous improvement for you, and we can help you with that. We've got a lot of expertise within the company. So we've actually got a business success team. We've got one of our technical architects is also a Salesforce MVP, most valuable player. He gets to see all of the new features that are coming, all of the new features that are that could be of use to our customers. So we give you, as part of being a BrightGen customer, innovation and insight on the platform. Product evaluation. Those who are familiar with the platform know about the App Store, or the, sorry, I've given it the App Exchange, App Exchange, which is similar to the App Store. Lots of additional features that you can plug into the platform. You know, what would you be interested in using? That we can set up proof of concept, pilot schemes, and the like, just to for you to evaluate what would be a good fit for you. User training. If you've got your own internal team, or if you just want to teach your super users how to support themselves, we've even given training to a customer's development team around coding and stuff like that. So if you want us to give your users training of that in whatever guise, if it's on the Salesforce platform, we can do it. And that last point, whatever you need. If it's anything Salesforce related, we can help you with it. So why can't I do this myself? Well, you could. Why not? It's your platform. It's fairly easy to configure. However, it takes years to build up a depth of knowledge to support all of the elements of the platform. The platform started off as a CRM tool. It's now a whole myriad of features and functionality. There's websites, there's communities, there's all sorts on there. So it takes years to build up a level of expertise. It's taken us 11 years to get where we are. So we can offer, you can buy into that, and we can offer that to you. Just to give you a flavour of that, we have a graduate scheme. It's been running for 5 years. We've taken on in the region 21 graduates across those 5 years, And our experience is it takes about a year for one of those graduates. Remember, they come to us computer science literate with a degree, minimum of 2-1 computer science degree. Some of them come to us with masters, and it takes them at least a year to be proficient on the system. So that just gives you a flavour of what you need to do in order to build up the expertise and do it yourself. So these are some of the reasons now why people come to us, and they feel that they can't or they don't want to do it themselves, and they want to come to an implementation partner like us. So here's some of the reasons. I've got no internal support, or I've got limited. I might have a couple of admin people, but they can't implement strategic and tactical change for me. So I'll come to someone like BrightGen. So a lot of big corporations and smaller corporations, if you like, people inherit the platform. They say, right, you're looking after Salesforce, and you need to know, right, where do I start? And I'm not even sure what's even in there, what's been implemented in the past, where do I go from here? You want regular support, so you don't want the system going down. You want your users up and running for the maximum amount of time that you can, but you don't want to keep raising POs for every small change. So our model is that you buy a block of hours, you draw down on them as you go, so no need to raise a PO for every single change. I want to do more with the platform, but you don't really know where to start. I alluded to road mapping, continuous improvement, innovation, insight on the previous slides. That's something we can help with. So you don't know where to start, we'll help you. Okay, so there's a bit of a whistle-stop tour around service management and BrightGen. So I'd like to hand over now to Lawrence, who'd like to give you a customized view of working with BrightGen and what can be done with the Salesforce platform.
Thank you very much, Clive, and hello to everyone again, and thank you for your time this afternoon. I just wanted to talk about my experience with BrightGen. I've been at Heathrow for just over a year and a half now, and what we've built together certainly I believe is groundbreaking, and I wanted to share that with you. But before we do that, let's just talk a little bit about Heathrow, some key facts and figures from last year. We had 78 million passengers come through our doors, and that works out at just over 210,000 every day. 49 departing, 51 arriving. We have 81 airlines and serving 204 destinations in 85 countries. You can see that June the 30th was our busiest day last year with nearly 260,000 passengers traveling. And of course, we have a big workforce here. So Team Heathrow consists of 76,500 people that are employed throughout our retail outlets, our support services, our security offices, you name it, and that's what they come up to. And over 300 shops and lounges at the airport. Cargo volumes, interestingly, growing yearly, but 1.7 million metric tons of cargo came through Heathrow. So a real European hub in that sense. So I wanted to talk to you really about how Heathrow brings people closer, and what we've delivered is going to continue to do that. So you can see at the happy couple on the left-hand side, or the young ladies on the right, both going somewhere, but both going places to be closer. So on the left, you've got people going closer to where their story began, where they first met, and the people on the right flying away for their summer holiday to Mexico to enjoy possibly some holiday romance, or getting closer to that well-deserved margarita on the beach. And that brings together our vision to give our passengers the best airport service in the world. That's really our North Star in how we deliver our service at Heathrow. And we do that by making every journey better. So that's what we try to do every single day for our passengers. And in keeping with that theme, our project and how we came across to working with BrightGen was to create a single customer view, a 360-degree view of our passengers. And that was done because we know our passengers choose when, where, and how to be heard and interact with us. And what they want from us is relevant, meaningful content and conversations so we can really have that close relationship with them. And if you think about it, that's through all stages of their journey. So when they plan, when they book it, before they travel, when they are traveling or they're in the terminal itself, on their trip, and also on their return journey. And as it says here, we have to be there for them when they need us to be, with the right response and content for them. And we do this by recognizing the data that is available to us. We can personalize our response based on that data available. We can determine the best channel to reach them by. Is that email? Is that push notification? We have opportunities to upsell our products and services. As mentioned before, we can send relevant communications to them. And that's how we create that single customer view. So I wanted to just spend a bit of time to give you a brief demo of how it works. And I'm hoping we can get the sound on this. So we'll just test it out and see how that works.
Heathrow is to give passengers the best airport service in the world. By empowering our people with additional information about our customers, we can more easily connect with them and offer a better overall service. Thank you for calling Heathrow. How can I help you today? I'm calling about the recent purchase. I'm sure I can help you with that, sir. May I take your name, please? Robert Ward. Okay, so it's Mr. Ward calling. Let's take a look at what we know about him. The call's coming in from Twickenham. That's local. I can see that his mobile number is missing. I'll ask him for it. It may be useful for any service disruption. Let's take a look at his engagement. I can see from the M in the middle that he's a medium for lifetime value, which is good to know. He's obviously a high-value customer, so I need to be on top form for this one. Let's have a look and understand why. Just the odd parking transaction, but he is a heavy user of Heathrow Express. That's why his Heathrow Express quadrant is deep purple in colour. Well, he lives in Twickenham, so maybe he uses Heathrow Express when travelling in from the office. Perhaps he's more of a taxi user when coming in from home. Could I encourage him to park more at Heathrow? He's not a member of staff, which is good to know, but from his Wi-Fi logins, I can clearly see that he's here a lot. I can also see that Mr. Ward is a Heathrow Rewards member. I wonder if he's aware of the double points promotion that we're currently running. His most recent transaction at the airport was last week. Ted Baker, very trendy. So he's travelled recently. I wonder if he's referring to that purchase. An open case. I'd better get up to speed with that. Let's click on the tab for more detail. The tall jacket. I hope it wasn't one from Ted Baker. I can see that Mr. Ward will be with us again soon. Let's have a look at what he's booked. I must remember to tell him about our new interactive maps. I've got all your information in front of me. Can you tell me more? With the Heathrow single customer view, we're bringing customer data sources into one easy-to-navigate area. This puts all our need-to-know information into the hands of frontline staff, just when they need it most. Heathrow single customer view, bringing customer data sources into one area, providing relevant information to our people, having more informed conversations for improved customer service.
So I hope that gives you a good overview of what BrightGen, in conjunction with working with us and our data partner, have delivered. And we're very proud of what we've delivered, and we do truly believe that we will be offering our passengers that hyper-personalized service by bringing those 4 disparate customer data sources, as they were, together in one easy-to-navigate area. And we talk about that North Star, that golden record, that sort of view that shows everything about a customer, everything you'd need to serve them best to deliver that personalized service. So here's an example of one that I created earlier, if you like, where we've got a passenger. You can see that he parks a lot at the airport. His parking quadrant is deep purple in color. He's a 20 for overall engagement, so on the lowest scale, but certainly a prospect. He's not a staff member, and he actually has visited the airport quite a few times, 22 parking visits. His last travel date was the 4th of December last year. If we look a bit closely at it, we can see that this passenger is highly engaged, as I mentioned, that deep purple, but we can also see he's not a Heathrow Rewards member. And we are developing functionality with BrightGen and our data partner to be able to recognize that and send an email to that passenger, so long as they agree to receive it, of course, to say, why didn't you sign up? Here's a bonus welcome acquisition offer to get you enrolled in the program. And there is, of course, a reason for that, because if we dig a bit deeper and we have a look at the parking transactions for this passenger, we can see that they often travel from Terminal 5, and that's a BA or Iberia flight, part of the IAG group. But also, based on all of these transactions, we can see that this passenger's actually missed out on quite a lot of Heathrow Rewards points, nearly 2,000 if you add it up over the calendar year. And those 2,000 points could have actually got him quite a lot. So if we talk about the fact that he could have collected those points on parking, well, actually, as a Heathrow Rewards member, he could have collected those points on everything he does at Heathrow. So even if it was that Starbucks or Cafe Nero or Costa, I'm trying to reel them all off so I don't get told that I'm favouring anyone there. If he collected those points for those transactions, he could have actually got 2,000 miles or Avios on his frequent flyer programs. He could have got £20 off the Plaza Premium Lounge in Terminal 5. He could have got £20 off vouchers. Or he could have got £40 off Heathrow official pre-booked parking. So those are the kind of conversations we can now have that before single customer view and what we delivered with BrightGen, we weren't able to do. And if we talk about what we want to achieve in terms of personalization and upselling, let's have a look at a few examples. We can see this passenger here, not so much engaged in parking rewards, but does take part in it every now and then. But did they know that they could get £10 off pre-book parking by redeeming 500 Heathrow Rewards points? Those were conversations we couldn't have before, but we can now. Or as mentioned just a minute ago, let's have a look at this customer that parks a lot at Heathrow and sometimes uses the Heathrow Express and may use our free Wi-Fi service, but isn't a Heathrow Rewards member. Well, let's tell them more about the program and enroll them in it so they can collect points on everything they do at Heathrow. Or finally, this passenger who is actually highly engaged in our loyalty program and often uses the Heathrow Express. Well, why don't we tell them that they could buy a Carnet ticket with the Heathrow Express, which offers 12 trips for the price of 9, rather than buying single trips and, of course, costing them more in the long run. And from that project, we then decided to transition into a service management model, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in this section. We delivered the project on the 14th of February last year, and by transitioning to service, we now have monthly meetings with our service manager and the key stakeholders that are part of the service management contract here at Heathrow on a monthly basis. And of course, our service manager and some of the BrightGen Salesforce consultants will visit us here on site or at our contact center to help, advise, and tell us a bit more about what we can do to improve our roadmap going forward. So as Clive mentioned, the quarterly service period consists of a certain number of service hours. And here at Heathrow, we have 50 for each quarter. There's a dedicated service team phone line, which you can contact within normal office hours, if that's your model, or certainly on evenings and weekends is a possibility if you go through that model too. Solution summaries, which I will touch upon in a moment, are drafted with a time and effort estimate to give us a good idea of how much resource we need and are using. We have a dedicated technical lead who understands our business, and in our case, we have a great technical lead who I shall not name in case some of you try and poach him for your own service models. And also, I think the bigger point here is actually BrightGen have got a great track record of delivering cases on time and actually to the original estimate. You know, requirements can change, and there's always the clarity and honesty if that does happen. So let's give you an example of a case that we asked for recently. This is actually an email that I received from our Heathrow Awards loyalty program, which is called a quarterly statement, which tells me how many points I've got, how far I am to my next reward, and also how many points I've collected and redeemed since the start of the year. And what we asked BrightGen to do was provide that visual representation of Heathrow Awards within Salesforce. That turned into a requirement of displaying those circles within the Salesforce platform, which you saw earlier on the screen, both in the video and the screenshots. So as mentioned, a solution summary is drafted, and here's the one for that specific purpose, where the requirements are locked down after a scoping call, a solution is summarized, and then I've got a good understanding of how many hours I'm using. So here at Heathrow, we share those service hours across the business, so I can make that point to the rest of the stakeholders and say, yes, we'll be using 18 hours for this. These are the benefits for us, and we're going to go ahead with this. So it's good to have that vision and foresight in that respect. And here's what we delivered. So you saw in the video the engagement donut, Mr. Ward being a medium, and how we've now aggregated that into a 0 to 100 scale. But you can see a new points balance here, which actually gives our agents that hyper-personalized service that I spoke about. If someone calls up to book some parking, well, we can book the parking for them. We can tell them about how many points they have for their next visit at Heathrow. We've also got some additional circles here. It tells me how far I am or to either retaining or gaining premium status, which gives me double points, as well as a whole host of other enhanced offers, and also the number of points I've collected and redeemed since the start of the year. And again, I could have that conversation and tell that passenger, I can use those points at Well Duty Free, at Dixon's, at Plaza Premium, at Ted Baker, or on the Heathrow Express, or for parking as well. So I hope that gives you a good understanding of how the model works for us and how we've really gained a lot of insight from it. And I will now hand over to Clive and James.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Lawrence. That was excellent. Thank you. So I'm going to hand over now to James, who's going to tell you how service management works.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think Lawrence covered quite a lot of that actually himself, but I'll fill in the blanks for you. As Lawrence alluded to as part of his slide, the first phase is really transition. And we want to become the experts within your Salesforce sphere as well. So that's all about kicking off a session with yourselves, with the business stakeholders, and understanding your business and what you're using Salesforce for, and how it's all set up for you. If you're coming into service on a project, we'll obviously have a handover from that project team who have gained some of that business knowledge and also what's being delivered. But if you're coming in straight into service, we'll have that kick-off session. We might also take up the option to do a summary review of some description, which will give us a time box effort to go in and do a road mapping session and a review of what you've currently got in the Salesforce org. As Lawrence quite rightly alluded to earlier, the model is a quarterly hours basis. So you purchase a block of hours, much like a phone contract, and you draw down those hours on a quarterly basis for use within your Salesforce implementation. And you also have a flexible model to potentially uplift and purchase more hours to complete, some of those mini projects that might be on your roadmap. You have firm control on those hours, so we give you access to our customer portal, which allows you to raise cases, but also to be able to report on where your hours have been spent. We're very transparent about that. We want to give you that information. We're not precious about that information, so you can go and see that. It's very easy to get hold of us, as Lawrence again alluded to. We've got a dedicated service line, very personal service, and you do have a dedicated team of individuals. You have a service manager, a technical lead, and also an account manager to discuss any of your queries with. But you also do get assigned a specific case owner for each case that you might raise, and that is a very personal service, and they will be discussing those with you. You can raise cases via email, just by calling us, or via the portal as mentioned just earlier. So being within the IT industry, our processes are ITIL based, and ITIL is an industry standard framework for change and release management, incident management, and problem management. And our processes are based on that framework. And we do also have some formal SLAs to go along with that as well, which we can give you some more information on if you need it. As Lawrence alluded to, I did say he'd covered a lot of this already. We do have regular service reviews, and I see those service reviews both as what's gone past and a review of where we are. But for me, it's also about that road mapping exercise, getting to know you, getting to know your business, and making suggestions about what you should be doing next. It's not just about reviewing what's happened before. It's about looking forward as well. Road mapping, customer return on investment. Return on investment is a bit of a buzz phrase within the Salesforce sphere and within business in general nowadays. And that's absolutely key here as well. As Clive mentioned earlier, Salesforce is quite expensive, and we want to make sure you're getting that return on investment. And we also want to make sure you're getting return on investment on BrightGen as well. If it comes to the end of the contract and you've not seen a return on investment, you're not going to renew, and that's not good for us. We want you to renew, and we want to make sure that you're getting value out of using BrightGen. So it's on us to make sure you do that as well. So we do the whole piece. So all from first line support, we do have a first line function within the team now, all the way through to requirements gathering for changes, building those changes, testing those changes. We have our own QA function now, to deployment, and also some training if you should need it. And that training can encompass, development and admin training as well. It's not just youth training. We're not precious about our knowledge. We want to be doing the heavy lifting. We want to be providing value, and that might be us training yourselves to do some of that lifting yourself, and then we can step in and do the really, really clever stuff if needed. And this is just an example case flow, really. So you raise a case, it then gets triaged and assigned by our service ops manager. He might liaise with one of our technical leads to understand what the requirement is and who the best person to go to within the team. And then we collaborate with you, and it can be on any of those clouds. So as Clive quite rightly said, we've got expertise across the sphere within Salesforce, or across all of those clouds. And if we haven't got that expertise within the service team, we will go out to the rest of the BrightGen world to go and obtain those expertise. We've got that knowledge across the company. But as it quite rightly says, that collaboration between ourselves and yourselves is right through the piece, through impact assessment, through the QA, and finally at user testing and go live. It's all about that collaboration and that partnership between us as the service provider and yourselves as the customer. So I'll hand back to Clive to give you a little summary.
Okay, thanks, James. Okay, so I just want to go through some of the benefits of working with us. So certainly we want you to get value from the platform, and so we want to see some payback on your cost of having the platform. And if you've got it, you want to use it, right? So you want to get your guys on the platform. You want them it to help them do their job, just not another job. We want that to support what they're doing, make it easier and more efficient for them. If you feel that your Salesforce is not quite ready to get a continuous improvement and roadmap moving, then we can help you get it ready. We can we do summary reviews, health checks. We can make some recommendations so that you'll and we can do some work for you just to get your Salesforce ready for us to build some real value stuff on the top of that. Consistent procedures and best practice solutions. So dealing with us, you know what you're getting, you know how we operate, and we operate best practice. So if you ask us for something, if we think there's a better way of doing it, on a more efficient way of doing it and a better use of your hours, we'll tell you. Innovation, suggested solutions, products, features, whatever it is that you want or you want from us, Salesforce related, we can help with. James said flexible support for non-call experts. So we've got experts across the company. We'll use them to support you in whichever way you need. So yes, we've got a portal or a customer community, and some reports and dashboards. It's all about visibility. You need to see how your hours are being spent, how many cases are raised, those are closed, those are open and outstanding, and so there's a portal that we can offer you access to get all that information. Again, there's you can see your cases, you can see some of the trending and various other operational information, which hopefully will be of use to you. In summary, okay, so you get access to an expert team. That's what I was saying earlier. There's 30 of us who in the service team who can help you, but there's 120 across the whole BrightGen world that you have access to by coming to us. Getting the best from the platform, yeah, so we're here to help you do that, and we've got plenty of experts who can help you do that too. A tailored service. Now, we're not in the business of selling you hours that you're not going to use. It should be tailored to what your needs are. We can help you formulate that as well. And also, we can help you prepare for what's coming on the platform. There's three releases of Salesforce every year, new features coming all the time. We do a webinar every bit like this one, but every release, just prior to the release, we do a webinar where our Chief Technical Officer goes through all the release notes. There was over 455 pages of release notes in this last release, Spring 18 release alone. He goes through all of those, and then he summarizes all of the new features that are coming for all of our customers. Okay, so I'm going to ask Carly to collate all of our questions, should there be any. But while she does that, Lawrence, I've got a question for you, just to put you on the spot.
Absolutely, why not? Yeah, in the hot seat.
So yeah, I mean, it's yeah, exactly. So it's obvious you've made a fantastic strides on your Salesforce platform and using it for your vision and your mission. So I'm just interested to know, where are you going next with Salesforce?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and actually throughout Heathrow, we've seen different business units and areas look to either onboard or enhance their offering of Salesforce for what they do it for. Some people use it as a stakeholder management tool, some people use it as a CRM, as we do. Certainly, the Business Support Center have asked me actually tomorrow to showcase how we're using it, so they may be able to use it. So certainly its presence is growing, and we like the fact that it's so customizable, and that's very much through working with BrightGen to make that happen for us.
Cool. Oh, excellent. Okay. So, are there any sort of strategic larger projects you think on the horizon?
Yeah, I know that there is certainly another project in the commercial area that we're looking to introduce Salesforce for. So that's certainly one. Certainly the conversations tomorrow will be interesting to see if our Business Support Center also use it for, I suppose, an internal kind of stakeholder management tool rather than an external one. So yeah, I think there's definitely lots of capabilities in that respect.
Cool. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much for that. So, Carly, do we have any questions from the audience?
We do have a couple of questions from the audience, and just one that I think we can answer right now. We have a user here who is a Salesforce user, but is also a user of SAP.
Yep.
And they were wondering about if we can support both parts of that, or
Sure.
if that prevents them being able to be involved with the service.
No, absolutely. Well, we have a lot of experience in a number of integrations with the platform, SAP being one of them, but also with Experian and various other external third-party applications. A lot of our customers, where they've got a solution that's in that format, we can act as their first line support and manage cases on their behalf. It might be that we have to hand off to a third party, but we can help them. We can, we wouldn't just say, oh well, it finishes at Salesforce, you have to go and speak to someone else. We'll help, because really we're all about the resolution to the problem, if there's a problem, or the resolution to the change, if there's a change required. We're not about just doing the Salesforce and leaving it at that. So yes, we can help, and we can either take responsibility and help you take on that control for you, or if you want to take that control yourself, we can help you and support you.
Yeah, perhaps one we'll discuss in more detail directly with that person.
Yeah, for sure.
And the other question related to minimum contract hours, but I think that's again a personal discussion, so we'll follow up with you personally on that.
Yeah,
if anyone has any
of
other
course.
questions, they can certainly follow up.
Sure. Okay, cool. Excellent. Well, I guess no further questions. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll send the slides out and the recording of this session tomorrow. Please don't hesitate to contact us if you want to talk about anything that you've heard today or beyond. Just give us a call. We're happy to take any questions outside of this session. Thank you again to Lawrence for speaking on our behalf and helping us today. So goodbye, everybody, and thank you so much. And hopefully we'll see you again.